I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this evening's meeting. This is the 17th meeting of the Board of Directors of the City of Hot Springs during this calendar year 2022. Are we on? Okay, we'll go ahead and begin. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this evening's meeting. This is the 17th meeting of the Board of Directors of the City of Hot Springs during this calendar year 2022, and we'll begin with an invocation by Keith Capps, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise. Thank you.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us, and thank you for this opportunity to gather on behalf of this beautiful city. God, I do thank you for these leaders, and I lift them up to you and pray that you would protect them, God, protect their families, God, and give them wisdom as they seek to lead well. God, I want to thank you for all of our public servants and our first responders. God, thank you for what they do. Please protect them. And God, I thank you for how you're at work here in Hot Springs. I pray that you would just create a spirit of unity and love that would honor you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday. Here. Director Elaine Jones. Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Carol Weatherford.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia.
Here.
Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. At this time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda, or items to be moved from consent agenda to new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to
So
approve.
moved, Mayor.
Director Garcia, seconded
Second.
by Director Dobbs-Smith. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Agenda is approved. Now we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting held on August 16, 2022. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Director Weatherford, seconded by Director Holliday. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. We have 3 proclamations to read this evening, and the first will be read by Director Weatherford regarding Constitution Week, and it'll be presented to Peggy Kipp, Regent of the Daughters of the American Revolution. Director Weatherford.
Whereas September 17, 2022 marks the 235th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and now, therefore, I, Pat McCabe, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, on behalf of the Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Constitution Week in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals that the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through the guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city to be affixed on this 6th day of September in the year of our Lord 2022.
Director Weatherford, please join me at the podium.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. course, the Daughters of the American Revolution support this so much, and we appreciate you doing this because we want, the whole idea is to make the public aware of this very important week. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next proclamation is entitled Ladies in Leather, and we read by Director Garcia and presented to Amber Cohen, founder.
Ladies in Leather, we are sisters in the wind. We are lady riders. Whereas founded by Amber Cohen, Ladies in Leather is a group of women that join together to celebrate the unity and the freedom of riding. And whereas Ladies in Leather is the largest traveling all-female motorcycle parade in the United States, and whereas their annual event represents a broad spectrum of women across many ages, races, economic backgrounds, and are united in their love of motorcycling, and whereas these women leave their complicated lives behind and look to the road ahead, taking off all the different hats they wear at home, they slide into their boots, jackets, and chaps, becoming the Ladies in Leather. And whereas on the roads traveled, they become stronger than ever, free from the burdens and trials of their everyday lives, and find their peace and freedom 1 mile at a time. Now, therefore, Pat McKay, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, and on behalf of the entire Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim September 10th, 2022 as Ladies in Leather Day.
Thank you so much.
And this is a copy, and thank y'all all for bringing your parade to Hot Springs.
We just want to say that it's an honor to be in Hot Springs. Thank you so much for having us, and we're looking forward to a wonderful weekend. We're really excited to be in the state of Arkansas, so thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye now. Our final proclamation of the evening is entitled Celebrating Welcoming Week. Whereas we celebrate Welcoming Week as a way of creating a home with communities worldwide. It's about bringing neighbors together across lines of difference to build relationships and work together on shared goals. And whereas Hot Springs is home to people of all backgrounds, including those not born here, but now call it home. Hot Springs' success depends on making sure that all citizens feel welcome. Along with our longtime residents, new residents are a vital part of our community, bringing ideas, starting businesses, serving in civic roles, working in critical industries, and contributing to the vibrant diversity we value. And whereas to capitalize on diversity as an asset, our community must strive to create a culture and policies that ensure everyone can belong and thrive. That includes addressing disparities, countering hate, understanding history, helping neighbors come together. And whereas regardless of where people are born or how they identify, we are Hot Springs and our lives are interdependent. It is time to come together and build communities where every resident has the opportunity to thrive and contribute by fostering a welcoming environment for all, regardless of immigration status, race, ethnicity, place of origin, English language proficiency, religion, income, gender, sexual orientation, differing abilities, age, and other factors. We enhance Hot Springs' health, economic prosperity, and well-being for current and future generations. Now, therefore, I, Pat McKay, Mayor of the City of Hot Springs, on behalf of the Board of Directors, do hereby proclaim the week of September 12, 2022 as Welcoming Week in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I invite all residents to join this movement by taking action in the spirit of unity across differences. I also ask on business leaders, civic groups, government agencies, and community institutions to undertake their initiatives alongside Hot Springs and beyond Welcoming Week to make the region more welcoming for new and long-term residents. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city to be affixed on the 6th day of September in the year of our Lord 2022. So please join me in participating in Welcoming Week. And we're going to welcome the city manager with a city manager's report. Good transition.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. On August 24th, we held a launching and dedication ceremony at the Lake Ouachita Water Supply Project's Blakely Mountain intake site. During the ceremony, the micro-tunneling machine was, as customary, to name this machine after a person. Our tunneling machine was named the Miss Elaine in honor of District 2 Director Elaine Jones. She's anything but a bore, but we did want to honor her with that name, and Miss Elaine is making its way through Blakely Mountain. The day after the ceremony, Michaels Corporation, they carefully hoisted the custom-built machine into a 72-inch encasement pipe, marking the official beginning of what will be the longest 56-inch direct pipe tunneling project in North America. As a reminder, anyone can go see the progress take place on the utilities page on our website. They've got a worksite camera, and it updates a photo every 30 minutes, so you can see a timeline of what's happening out there. It's been exciting to watch, and they've had actually 2 long stretches of the 56-inch pipe already through, about 400 feet. They were hoping for a goal of 25 to 30 feet a day, and they've reached that. They're about 29 feet a day. We'd finish about the second week of December if we continue with that, but just knowing that mountain, we know there's going to be some rock that they're going to encounter, and probably slow down a little bit. But we hope to have this project finished by the end of the year, and they're doing a great job. I want to talk a little bit about short-term rentals and concerns that citizens may have with the short-term rental, and we're asking them to call our hotline, the STR hotline, or the Hot Springs Police Department. Staff continues to have weekly meetings regarding short-term rentals. Of course, one of the items that we talk about each week are STR-related complaints and concerns that we've received. We've been pleased with what we've seen so far, which have been really a low volume of complaints. There may be a few bad actors out there, but it seems to be the same street, same house, same folks in each of these. And to be honest, I've been surprised that they've been limited to the number that we've had. They've been significantly low. I'm proud of the way our planning staff and our Hot Springs Police Department have worked together to adjust procedures to make sure that we're responding quickly. But I will say that for those that are listening, to ensure that we efficiently address the issues, we ask concerns related to short-term rentals in the city be directed to our 24-hour STR hotline. It's 501-290-2950. It can be found on our website as well. And for noise and other immediate issues, please contact our police department at their non-emergency line, 321-6789. Both of these, again, can be found in our on the website. Go to the planning page or the STR complaint page and be able to log that. There's also a link that will take you there. But again, for immediate response, calling the hotline or the PD non-emergency number is your best option to get a timely response from staff. On a positive note, June sales tax revenues were up 8.39%, which over June of 2021, which leaves us with about 8.75% above last year on a year-to-date total. We'll start seeing things slow down a little bit now that Labor Day has come and gone, but we just appreciate all of those that visit and play in Hot Springs and also live here. Want to mention Mara Harper. She's been promoted to the Director of Utility Billing Services. She's been our customer service manager for several years. She started with the city. Her career started with the city in March of 1997. She's worked both in billing and customer service. I've worked many times with Mara and know that she's going to do a wonderful job heading up the utility billing services now that Randy Outler has moved into retirement. So proud to say that Mara Hopper is our new utility billing services director. More than 100 water customers have received program assistance, almost $23,000 for the low-income housing water assistance program. That's been since July the 1st. So just in a couple of months, we've had 23,000 that have helped our local citizens through that program. Credit goes to all of our UBS employees involved with making the city a registered vendor with this federally funded assistance program, which helps our low-income households pay their residential water and wastewater past due balances. Residents can apply for up to $2,000 in past due payment assistance, and you can get to this website on our site, I believe, but it's arkansaslihwap.com. We'll have that. If it's not on there, I'll make sure that we get that posted on the front of our website as well with a window. But that's been a great program that a lot of families here in Hot Springs have taken advantage of. And again, that's up to $2,000, and it'll pay any of your past due water and wastewater related expenses. We've had a Blix cleanup over in the Pleasant Street Historic District. Our Neighborhood Services Division coordinated with Solid Waste to add a one-day kind of a blitz operation clean sweep event for that Pleasant Street Historic District, which included around 110 address points. Neighborhood Services dropped off packets in the district as well as the outlying streets on Friday, August the 19th. And then CAPS from the Solid Waste Department went through the area on August the 26th. They were able to pick up 11 tons of debris, about 5.5 tons of just miscellaneous large items, and another 5.2 tons of brush. This event was requested by the citizen in the area, and we recognized this need and added this one-day event because it's been a couple of years since we've had a clean sweep in that particular area. The third 3-week clean sweep of 2022 is scheduled for October the 10th through the 28th. And that'll be approximately 425 addresses on Cones Road and Ridgeway Streets between Malvern Avenue and Stacy Street. So that section of Cones and Ridgeway will be our next clean sweep. And again, we'll go through with our neighborhood services indicating notices of violations. Then CAPS will come back in, and during that whole week, they'll be making rounds to pick up any of the items free of charge for the residents to help get this area cleaned up. And then the third week, Neighborhood Services will go back in to see if the notices that they had given a couple of weeks prior have been taken care of. So looking forward to that. And then finally, Mayor, we're in full campaign swing in the city of Hot Springs. We're starting to see a lot of campaigns get going with our elections. I just want to remind everyone that campaign signs, they need to be outside of the right-of-way. They need to be on a private property and have permission from that private property owner to place that sign. If your sign is in the right-of-way, it will be removed. If it's on public property, it will be removed. So be sure as you're setting out your campaign signs that you're making sure that you're getting outside of the right-of-way and you have the property owner's permission to have them there. With that, I'll conclude.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. At this time, we'll hear from individual directors on announcements of upcoming events. Any director have an upcoming event? Yes, ma'am. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to remind you that I am hosting a community meeting tomorrow, beginning at 5 o'clock at the Marriott Courtyard Meeting Room. And it's accessible from Files Road or Central Avenue. And city management across the different city departments will be there to speak and answer your questions, including our public safety, streets, our city attorney and city manager, our deputy city managers, and we'll have a lot of information to share as well as answer questions. And refreshments will be available. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Weatherford.
Just want to remind everybody this Friday at 6th Annual First Responders Breakfast at St. Mary's Catholic Church and 100 Central. It's a complimentary breakfast buffet from 6 to 9, a non-denominational prayer service from 7:30 to 8. If any of the directors would like to attend, first responders for the county and the city.
Good. Thank you. Director Holliday.
Yeah, I want to share with everyone that the Park Avenue Community Association is having a block party and yard sale on Saturday, September 17th from 9 to 2. All proceeds are going to support the splash pad. They've raised over $40,000 so far at the Park Avenue Community Association for that splash pad at Watkins Park there on Park Avenue. And just a note, their most recent fundraiser was a Light Uptown event, and they actually raised $26,000 at that event for lights for Park Avenue as well. So this Saturday, if you're out and about, stop by there. The address is between 909 Park and 1003 Park. Also across the street at 910 Park, there's a food truck court there that is reopening, and there will be food trucks there as well for the event
What was the date again?
this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Oh, actually, no.
I think it's
The
about.
17th, I apologize.
I think you said the
17th.
17th, right? Or
You are correct.
Am I
A week
wrong?
from Saturday.
A week from Saturday.
Yeah, a week
yes.
from Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clarification. Any other announcements? Just have one real quick announcement. Out of the Darkness Walk, which is a suicide prevention and education awareness, is going to be held on Saturday, September 24th. The starting point is the public parking garage on Exchange Street, and they walk down Central Avenue towards around the St. Mary's area, St. Mary's Catholic Church, and then they return. So it's a short walk, enjoyable walk, and it creates an awareness for suicide prevention. And that strikes every community, and we never realize what struggles people are having until we hear about their passing. So would invite each and every one of you to join that walk on Saturday the 24th at 10 a.m. and you can park at the Levi Hospital parking lot if the Exchange Street parking is full, and that's just a short block and a half to the starting point. So and that's at across from the AT&T building on Prospect Avenue. So thank you. If there's no further announcements, we'll consider the consent agenda. This is of a routine nature and doesn't merit individual discussion, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Director Garcia, seconded by Director Trustee. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. We have a number of items under new business, and the first is to consider Resolution R-22-132, and I'll ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-22-132, a resolution approving the application by Langston Carter for Fun Bus Party Bus for a charter services transportation permit. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
So
Motion.
moved.
Director Dobbs-Smith, seconded by
Second.
Director Weatherford, and staff report will be provided by City Clerk Harmony Morrissey.
Thank you. On June 29th, Mr. Langston Carter applied for a sightseeing and charter permit for Fun Bus Party Bus. He had previously owned and managed a limo party bus business in Los Angeles, California for 8 years. On July 27th, a duly advertised public hearing was held before the Transportation Advisory Committee. Mr. Carter presented his request and furnished evidence of his experience and his commitment to providing transportation services in Hot Springs. The committee found that the requested services do serve the public interest and that the applicant is fit to operate such services. The committee further gave Mr. Carter until the end of 2022 to remit the remaining requirements and recommend that upon staff satisfaction with those submissions, the Board of Directors grant Mr. Langston Carter Fun Bus Party Bus authorization to operate a permitted transportation service in the city of Hot Springs. On August 25th, Mr. Carter verbally amended his application to remove the request for a sightseeing permit, leaving just the request for a charter permit. He has now submitted all requisite information and documents meeting the code requirements for a charter permit. The Transportation Advisory's recommendation has now been sent to the board, who can consider it for final approval. Mr. Carter is with us tonight and can answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Before we begin, Mr. Carter, any questions of Ms. Morrissey? Director Garcia?
I had a question. Why was the address of the principal place of business redacted? Are we not allowed to know where the principal business place is?
That's their home address. It's not the principal place of business. When he submitted this application, that was part of the requirements for that he had not had yet. He came to us with the idea of of this business and wanted some kind of approval from the city to go forward and actually purchase the vehicle. So the address that he submitted was his home address, and so that was redacted when it was published in the packet.
Okay, so where is the principal place of business?
Oh, I'll be running the business, which is basically just taking reservations over the phone in my house, in my office. The bus is not parked there, though. The bus is parked at another location.
Where will the bus be kept?
It'll be kept in storage, at a storage location probably.
Oh, okay. And can I ask?
Go ahead.
And with the, what are the plans with the name Party Bus? I received questions, will there be open containers in the bus, or what does the party refer to?
The party is the party, you know, they make the party. But, yeah, I mean, if they're 21 or over, they're allowed to drink on the bus. You know, of course, if they're not allowed to drink on the bus. We usually have a rule, I've done this before, so if there's anyone that's under 21 and there's alcohol on the bus, then the bus stops, the ride stops.
But
So-
you're not
so-
serving?
No, we're not serving, we're not buying it, you know, not at all.
Any further questions of Ms. Morrissey? Or any questions of the applicant, Mr. Carter?
You guys are quiet.
All right. Any discussion amongst directors?
I did have one question for him. Will that be just inside the city limits, or could you charter that bus to go, say, Little Rock or?
Yeah.
A
We're
ball
gonna
game,
probably
something
not
like
go
that.
farther, within probably, I would say, 50, 75 miles radius, but not, not far.
You're not taking us to Chicago?
Not to Chicago, no.
Thank you.
Director Garcia?
That for the city attorney, you reviewed and everything that about this is, met your approval?
I did. His initial application included sightseeing, and so that was more involved. When he dropped the sightseeing application and left it to charters, it's pretty straightforward.
And that's just from point A to point B?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
you, Mr.
thank you,
Carter.
guys.
Any further discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Holliday,
Aye.
Dobbs Smith,
Aye.
Weatherford,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee,
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R-22-133, and I ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-22-133, a resolution declaring a certain structure located at 322 Pleasant Valley Street a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. And Chief Building Inspector, Mr. Mike Scott.
Thank you,
will
Mayor.
be, providing the report.
This is a single-family structure located in District 1. The current owner purchased this vacant property in 2020 and began making repairs. However, once the repairs began, he quickly realized the cost was greater than he expected. Originally built on piers, the house would need extensive foundation work. Other violations which create a public health and safety risk include rotten and missing siding, rotten floor joists, and damage to the roof and ceilings. Notices were issued to the owner, and we have received confirmations back. In addition, a notice was attached to the structure.
Any questions of Mike on this item? Thank you. We have one guest who wants to speak on this topic.
Yes, sir. My name is Arturo Merez.
Yeah, thank you.
I am new to the area, the Cones area. The property we're talking about, I live three lots over, and in between that property, I also have a brother-in-law and my sister that live in the house next to it. My sister is a respectable business owner in the area. it's basically my neighborhood now. So I would like to be given the opportunity for you guys to let Mr. McCormick relinquish his ownership, which I have followed through, and would like to close on the 16th and can get to work as early as the 19th, which is the following Monday. Basically, I'm here to ask permission and given the opportunity to bring back the charm to my neighborhood and bring the house back and take the soreness out of the eye, I guess you could say. I know it's going to be a big task, but I am willing and ready to do it.
So you've thoroughly evaluated the structure and believe that you can rehab the structure?
I do, sir.
And you have the resources to do that?
I'm 2 houses over, so yes, that will help me. My brother-in-law and my sister live in the property next door to it because the property in between is vacant. Yeah, I believe I can do it. Absolutely. It's my neighborhood.
Well, I understand, and we all appreciate that. Generally speaking, by the time we get to this point, there's most of the structures are in such a state of disrepair. It's almost not next to impossible, but close to next to impossible to cost effectively rehab it. So
I understand. I've been a business owner, and you got your wins and your losses. I'm prepared. It's my neighborhood. I will
if the structure was
follow through.
removed, the lot would still be obviously there and available to rebuild on.
True.
So the way this generally would proceed is we very well may condemn it today, and but that action wouldn't unfold for at least 30 days. And there's time there for you to acquire the property and meet with Mr. Scott and provide a plan of action to rehab the structure. I just want, I'm really concerned that you would move forward and then not you'd acquire the property and then not be able to move forward with the rehab.
I believe if I'm given ample time to do the work, it should be done. And
Okay.
I believe safety is going to be my biggest concern because that's part of our neighborhood. We have
No,
kids
and
and
that's the issue that comes to us today. That's condemnation and safety is a primary issue.
absolutely. I understand that.
So if the property is condemned today, that doesn't mean we bring the dozer tomorrow. But it is going to, whatever action we take, your first person you're going to talk to, maybe even on your way out today, is Mike.
He came in this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're
We had an
communicating.
extensive conversation
Okay,
about the timeline and what we expect, so yes.
all right. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. In this instance, this gentleman hasn't obtained ownership yet and already had it in the works to close. The tentative date is the 16th. That could be delayed. He wouldn't have the full 30 days. And by him taking on, we wouldn't have to be out that money if he takes it on, as well as he could reclaim any wood that could be used to, again, repurposed. I would move that we table this for 30 days to allow him time to get ownership and to show good faith in moving forward, and table it to our first meeting next month for a follow-up
I would
that did
second that.
occur.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have
So it stays on the table, but we just table it for today,
got a
and it'll
motion
come
and a
back.
second to table.
First
Please.
meeting in October.
First meeting in October. Please call the roll.
Director Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford. Aye. Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Motion to table is approved.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Keep working with Mike.
I will,
Please. This time we'll consider Resolution R-22-134 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-22-134, a resolution declaring certain structure located at 213 Blake Street a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion and second to adopt.
Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Second.
Director Trustee. Excuse me?
You said 213 Blake?
Yeah, but they'll call you.
We'll call on you
They'll
here in a
call you
minute.
just a minute.
Thank you.
Uh,
And Mike Scott, again, Chief Building Official, will provide the staff report.
Thank you. This is a single-family residence located in District 2. This property is owned by Tommy and Denver Woodfork. However, Denver Woodfork is deceased. Ms. Joy Barron has power of attorney over the property as well. The property is currently certified to the state on failure to pay back taxes. Issues that create a public health and safety risk include damaged roof, missing siding, missing porch, decking, damaged windows and doors. A recent interior inspection has not been performed as the owners have denied access to the property. Notice of these proceedings were issued. We have received the confirmations from Mr. Woodfork and Ms. Barron. In addition, a notice was attached to the structure.
Any questions of Mr. Scott? Director Garcia?
I wanted to make sure I understood that you said that the taxes had not been paid and this has been taken by the state?
It's just certified over to the state because the taxes hadn't been paid.
So, okay.
Yeah, they haven't got it out for auction yet or anything, but it's,
But
Yeah.
it's been conveyed to the State Land Commissioner.
yeah.
Any further questions?
Thank
of
you.
Mr. Scott? Thank you. Did we have anybody sign up?
Well, that man.
Sir, will you want to come forward and tell us your name and your relationship to the property and what your thoughts are?
Yes, I'm Tommy Woodfork. I'm the owner of the property. And I haven't received anything recently for needing repairs or anything for this home. The house has a fairly new roof that was put on there. It does need a little structural work on the outside before it's inside or anything like that, roofs, repairs, anything like that. The house is in pretty good shape. So I like to maintain the house and continue to work on it and do what I need to do to
Is
get
the
it up
house
to code.
being occupied at this time?
No, I live next door to the house.
Okay. Is there, can you make, work with Mr. Scott and make improvements within the next 30 days or so?
Yes, sir. I can do what I can.
Okay, well, I mean, like I said to the gentleman earlier, that by the time it comes to us, it's to a state that our staff believe that the structure should be removed. So, you know, any action we take today that's in the affirmative to, on the condemnation still would allow you 30 days to make efforts to show that there's a, you know, effort to be made to bring it back into compliance.
Yes.
So, any other questions or thoughts from the directors? Director Garcia?
Mr. Woodfork, he just said that the state had taken this for non-payment of taxes.
I pay taxes on it. State don't own that.
So there's some discrepancy in the information.
I wouldn't pay taxes on it. State don't own that property.
So, but Mike said that it had gone.
We checked it last week. I mean, when we brought it to the agenda meeting and everything, we checked it right before that.
Okay.
I paid taxes on that. I mean, it's not delinquent where it's been sold or anything like that.
And when was the last time you did any work on it?
Honestly, probably about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, Director Weatherford?
Mike, does he have a permit to be working on it?
Not at this time, no, he doesn't. He's pulled permits in the past, and in the packet, we have older pictures from, I think, a few years back to here. You can kind of compare them.
Director Garcia?
Yeah, I would like to get this cleared up about, where the ownership is. And I would move that we table it to our next meeting on September 20th and make sure that we've got in our packet, if the state land commissioner owned it, or your receipt for paid taxes for this property.
Okay.
State land commissioner doesn't own property when you don't.
Well, I meant it goes to them to go up for
Certified,
auction,
yes.
yeah.
But they don't own it.
We got a motion to table to the next meeting, which was the second meeting in September. Is there a second? Is there a second to table? Hearing none, the motion dies. Lack of a second. Any further discussion? Any questions to Mr. Woodfork? Thank you.
So come back on the when, you say?
We were going to take action here in a second, okay? If we take action to condemn, you have 30 days to show Mr. Scott that there's some effort to rehab the structure and a timetable and the wherewithal to do so.
Right.
He's a good man and he'll work with you, but we gotta, it's here before us today because there hasn't been work being done on the property.
Okay.
And he'll provide you the guidance as far as getting the proper permits in place.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. At this time, we'll consider Resolution R-22-135 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-22-135, a resolution declaring certain structure located at 228 Orange Street a nuisance and condemning same pursuant to Title 17 of the Hot Springs Code. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by
Second.
Director Dobbs Smith. And again, Mike Scott, Chief Building Official, will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. 228 Orange Street. This is a commercial building commonly known as the gymnasium at the old Hot Springs High. Notices requesting repairs be made to this structure have been issued to both the owner of record, Monolith Properties, and an additional owner, Chajin LLC. Although this owner is not listed in the official documents or limited title search. Violations which makes this building hazardous to the neighborhood are broken and missing windows, falling and missing soffit and fascia, and a hole in the roof. Pre-condemnation and notices of this meeting were sent to both Monolith Properties and Jason Wynn of Wiley, Texas. We have received proof of notices of both.
Any questions of Mr. Scott on this property?
I have a question.
Yes, Director.
Were you able to get inside the building, or is everything?
No, we were not. It's chained up and locked up, but the pictures we were taking was thanks to the fire department and their ladder truck was able to get pretty high and get close to a window. And we were able to get those pictures of the inside that way, and we were able to get pictures of the roof.
Yeah, I was curious about since it's mostly concrete construction, what the condition of the structure was as opposed to the wooden components. But without going inside, I'm assuming you don't have
The
a
roof,
way to assess
the roof
that.
shows significant damage in some of the pictures you can see, and it's wood. It's sad, but it's a beautiful wood structure inside. And, very, very well designed, but the wood's starting to rot because of the holes in the roof. And it's gone all the way down to the floor, and the floor's rotten in many places.
Well, I know some individuals who had plans for that property, and they had actually, I think, bought a piece of property from the city that was considered excess property there for parking. So there's just been no development of any kind in that area.
No permits, no work have been done on it in years.
And it's been years since we provided that sale. So I know, you're right, it is a beautiful structure. I know they had a youth indoor soccer league, and that was one of the last uses of that building many, many years ago. In fact, it had to be about 15 years ago or more, close to 20, because my son played indoor soccer there.
Mayor, Mr. Girolamo with Monolith Properties did come see me about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and he did state that the gentleman that had originally brought the plan to renovate the building, he was no longer in a contract with that person, that he was now in a contract with Mr. Wynn, who also received the letters that Mr. Scott is speaking about. But it looks like what he came with a couple of years ago, or maybe a year ago, did
No, it
not
was longer than that.
materialize, and now has moved on with this gentleman, but that looks like that progress has been slow as well.
Okay. Any further questions of Mike?
Didn't we sell that building? Did we have that building at one time?
Gave them that property.
Yeah, Ark of Arkansas.
My fear with it would be that that structure would catch on fire and then catch the historic high school, because they're so close.
It is open every now and then. We catch it open and vagrants living inside of it. We met Mr. Geronimo there probably 2 months ago and showed him holes that we needed filled in because vagrants were going in and out of it. So
Director Trustee?
Thank you, Mayor. Mike, any idea what it would cost to raise this structure?
I do not.
It's going to be
It would be
expensive.
very costly, yes, sir.
It's going to
It
be
would
costly.
Yes,
Okay. Do we have the funds to do that?
yes, we
We
do.
haven't appropriated them so far, have we?
It is not within our budget at this
Okay.
time.
Okay.
I think condemnation would allow us to secure the building and make sure that no one enters the building.
Okay.
And it could spur some activity, which condemnation usually does. So,
Director Garcia?
When the property next door was sold that you mentioned for, it was being obtained for parking for this structure, and we were told at that time that this was going forward right away, and that's been a few years ago, and nothing, there's not a current permit, there's nothing been done. So in the interest of safety for the community with winter coming on and more possible vagrants trying to stay warm inside there, the director's mention of fire is of concern. So if this would allow the, maybe spur the activity to move forward, or allow the city to protect and get the structure where it would be safe and protect it from being entered, it's worth preventing any loss of life or property.
Any other comments from directors or questions to Mike?
one of our biggest concerns is parts of the roof collapsing, because there has been parts of it fall on the floor. So, and it has quite a bit of a sag in it in one place. So,
Okay, well, thank you. Did we have anyone from the audience sign up?
No, sir.
Was there anybody from the audience that might have come in a little later that wanted to speak on this topic? Please come forward and restate your name, address, and district, please.
I didn't come here to speak about that, but
Come on.
I just came here to listen.
Yeah.
But the structure, my name's Lance Levy, and I'm a builder developer here in town, and do a lot of stuff downtown. And my name's Lance Levy, and I do a lot of things downtown here. And that building is the old gymnasium, correct? And there's an apartment complex that just sold next to it, I believe. There's apartments right next door. The gentleman that bought those is out of Little Rock. I know the guy. He's actually out of Conway. I don't know. I think it's to the city's benefit to tear this thing down, and I think they can find a buyer, whether it's me or that person next door, to add parking and probably some more housing downtown. I know it's an expensive building. There's no parking for it. It's a gymnasium that's been sitting there vacant for how long? I love saving structures. I've saved hundreds of them over my 21 years of doing this stuff. But sometimes things just got to get torn down and redone, and hopefully you can replicate the neighborhood with something. But I know this person in Little Rock he's a young guy. He's been on the roll. If it's not me, it's him or somebody else that can do it. I just think the city needs to look at demoing, because I've looked at other properties by this man, and they're safety issues and they're eyesores. And I've done a little bit in this town. Mike can attest. To my short time being here, you can see the permits I pull and the things that I do, so I'm not up here just to talk. You know, and I'd be happy to put the city in contact with the person that owns the property next door, and maybe him and Geronimo can work something out and save the taxpayers some money
Very good. Any questions?
at no fee. I'm not a licensed realtor.
Any questions for Mr. Levy? Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Did we have anybody else that wanted to come speak on this topic? Thank you. Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Now we'll consider Resolution R-22-136, and I ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-22-136, a resolution approving a lease and service agreement with Safe Haven Baby Boxes, Inc., and authorizing a memorandum of understanding with Hot Springs Knights of Columbus Council 6415 for the installation and maintenance costs associated with the newborn safety device. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
I got a bunch of everybody. Director Weatherford
Garcia.
and Director Garcia. Thank you. And our staff report will be provided by Fire Chief Ed Davis. Welcome.
Thank you, Directors. I appreciate you allowing me to bring this to you. The Fire Department is requesting that the City of Hot Springs install what's referred to as a Safe Haven Baby Box on the exterior Central Fire Station. Safe Haven Baby Box is basically a device that would allow someone to place a newborn child in it on the exterior of the station in a controlled environment that is also accessible on the interior of the station. Arkansas Safe Haven laws allow a mother within 30 days after the birth of her child to surrender that child with anonymity in a situation to where that she might be distressed, might be abandoned, that kind of thing, and it would be a better environment for the child if the child was allowed to go into foster care. And so that's what this device is allowed to do. It's an intervention. It is something that would be permitted on the exterior of the fire station. It would be something that we would promote so that the community knows that that option is there. Hopefully we would never have to use it, but in a situation where a young mother was distressed, abandoned, and feeling hopeless, this might give her the opportunity to place her child in a safe environment. The baby box itself is climate controlled. It would be heated and cooled. It would be monitored by the firefighters. If a mother placed a child into the baby box, an alarm would sound in the central fire station notifying the firefighters that this had occurred. The firefighters would then proceed to the box in the inside of the station. They would see to the child's immediate needs, medical, whatever those needs might be. At the same time, the police department would be notified, DHS would be notified, all of the different safeguards in our community would kick in for the care of the child. This is a really a good program. It's something that we've studied for quite a while and have felt like that it was something that would be good for the community. Our neighboring department, Benton Fire Department, recently, earlier in this year, had a baby that was surrendered in a baby box. And that child was placed into foster care and adopted relatively quickly. Child's doing great, having a happy life. And so, the fire department wants to do everything we can to preserve life and to also to help children and to help mothers as well. I mean, obviously many times women are abandoned and, left with a child, and that's a hard thing to deal with. And so if we can give them, a little hope and give them a place to where they can safely bring that child to, and do it under the legal umbrella of the safe haven laws, the fire department would like to do that.
Very good. Any questions of Chief Davis? I appreciate you bringing this to the community along with the Knights of Columbus.
Yes, sir. I was gonna ask you if it would be okay if Dayton Myers came forward and
I've
said
got
a
him
few
on the
words.
list to talk.
Perfect.
Very good. All right. Dayton Myers, please come forward and restate your name and address, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Dayton Myers. My address, I live in the county, 137 Wyatt Cove, Hot Springs. I'd like to thank Chief Davis and our fire department for partnering with us to do this phenomenal program here in our community. As Chief said, it's something that we never want to have to use, but we want to have that option there in the event that a woman does need to place her child in there. The baby box over in Maumelle, within a month of it being installed, had a baby placed inside of it. And the director of the Safe Haven Baby Box program, Monica Kelsey, told me that baby still had the tag on his ankle from the hospital. So this box is open to it might be a home birth, it might be somebody that has a woman that has their baby in the hospital and changes her mind and says, I can't do it, the father abandons them, so whatever. So we're excited about this in our community. Like Chief said, it's something that we've got to promote. I'm joined here by a few people that have been helping me with this, especially with some of the fundraising, because the Knights of Columbus are paying for this box with some of our community leaders at no cost to the city of Hot Springs. We're also paying the ongoing maintenance costs and installation costs. I'm joined by our council's Grand Knight, Don Burkett. I'm also joined by someone that y'all know very well, the CEO of Change Point Pregnancy Resource Center here in Hot Springs, Joanne Carter. I'm also joined by Pastor Doug Jones and his wife, Susan Jones. Pastor Doug is the head of the Pastor's Prayer Group here in Hot Springs. And I'm also joined by a nurse from CHI St. Vincent, who's also a community leader, does a lot of stuff in our community, Linda back there. So the community is very excited about this, and I hope that we have a good vote tonight. And if y'all have any questions, I'll hang around till after the meeting so we can talk about this box. Thank y'all.
Any questions of Dayton?
Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Director Garcia?
I thank the fire chief and the city for allowing this to work with the partnership to go in. I firmly believe this is positive to help save lives and to provide a good life for that baby and bring joy to the adoptive family. And I can speak to that from personal experience. Thank you.
Any other comments from directors? Oh, Director Weatherford.
I just wanted to say that Dayton came to me with this 4 months ago, and I've been working on getting it on the agenda. We had problems with legalities and logistics and everything else, and he finally got everything worked out. Like you said, this is no cost to the city. I think this is a great thing that they are doing for us, and I appreciate your vote tonight.
I appreciate you all putting up with me and those legalities.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I do have just one thing for the board, Mayor. The title references the council number as 6415. That obviously is a typo at 6419. That will be corrected before your signature. It doesn't require an amendment to the body itself. It's just an error within the title.
Okay. Very good. If there's no other questions, we'll call the roll.
Director Trusty.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. At this time, we'll consider resolution R. At this time, we'll consider resolution R-22-137 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R22-137, a resolution awarding a bid to Crow Group, Inc. for the construction of Phase 3 of the new water treatment plant as part of the Lake Washita Water Supply Project. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by?
Second.
Director Dobb Smith. Please read by title. Oh,
It's a resolution.
resolution. Thank you. Todd Pillar will provide the staff report, engineering project manager. Thank you.
Thank you, and good evening. This will be the largest resolution awarded by the board tonight for our Lake Washita water supply project in the amount of $34,950,000. We took bids on July 26th, and Crow Group of Morrilton, Arkansas was the low bidder for our new 15 million gallon a day water treatment plant off Amity Road. And this is phase 3 of the water treatment plant, is designed by Christ Engineers. I'll remind you that phase 1 was the site preparation and grading contract we did with CDI contractors out of Little Rock, and that was completed earlier this year. And phase 2 right now, if you look at the camera, the 3 million gallon concrete clear well is under construction by NetGun, a subsidiary of Deane Tanks, for a price tag of $4.2 million. This phase 3 is for the water plant itself and for an administrative and laboratory building in front. And Harmony was nice enough to put a couple renderings up there for you. The water treatment building itself will house all the Arkansas Health Department treatment processes required to treat our raw water from Lake Washita. It is approximately 110 feet wide. That'd be the big red barn-looking structure. It's 110 feet wide by 250 feet long, and we'll have a eave height of 30 feet. And it's about 27,500 square feet in the water plant itself. In front of it, the gray and blue building you see in the rendering is a single-story admin and laboratory building, and it's 5,500 square feet. Crow Group was the low bidder of 3 bids we received on July 26th, and was based on the certified bid tab and letter of recommendation from Christ Engineers. Again, compensation for the Crow Group will be in the amount, total base bid amount of $34,950,000. And the financial impact for this project for the city is it'll exhaust our remaining 2020 water bond funds, and we'll use a bridge loan from our general fund to fund the rest of the amount required. The 2020 water bond funds amount is $27 million, and the bridge loan from the general funds is $7,950,000. I want to remind you that this water plant project is going to take between at least 18 to 24 months to complete. So I don't think that we'll ever have to get into our bridge loan or general funds. We'll have other financing in place before we need to get to that point. So with that, I'll answer any questions if necessary.
Any questions of Mr. Pillar? Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make sure I understand everything correctly, that this is there won't be any change orders to change that price. That's our price.
No, ma'am, it's not guaranteed. There'll probably will be change orders on the project. They're sight unseen. Maybe a rock clause for excavation of the 36-inch pipe that goes from the clear well to the water plant. Panic hardware for doors. All kinds of different little things that'll come up.
Is there contingency amount built into this 35 million?
No, the Crow Group bid to the contract documents.
So
in the timetable. So if any changes come up, they have the right to submit a change order. It doesn't necessarily mean that the city will accept it. It
So-
could be on contract time, or contract price.
So if material price increased, but they base their bid on what they expect the prices to be.
Yes, ma'am.
And-
We're going to approve a $34,950,000 contract.
So this rendering, when this contract is completed within, say, understood 24 months?
Yeah, well, it's a 540-day contract, possibly 600 days total.
Then it will be ready. There's not going to be more contracts required to get it ready to operate.
The only contract we lack between getting Lake Washita water to the water plant is that little connector pipe up there at the intake site between where Michaels is drilling the tunnel and where contract one stopped by Blakely Mountain Dam Road.
So once that's in place, then everything's in place to get to this plant that's going to be pretty much like this rendering that you showed us,
That's
right?
correct. Yes, ma'am.
And this bridge loan is needed to go ahead and show we have the funds now, even though it's not taking money out of the general fund now.
No, yeah, on my projects, the contractors do progress payments every month. So like I said, this is going to be a 18-month to 2-year process. So by the time we get expended the $27 million we have in our bond funds right now, we won't probably never even use that bridge loan. It's just for on paper right now to show Crow that we have the money in the bank.
Right.
That we can fund the contract as a bid.
Okay. And on your progress payments, you withhold some retainage?
Yes, ma'am, 5%.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions from directors?
Mayor, if there are no additional questions, I would like to address Director Garcia's concerns that she pointed out. I want to be very transparent about this. If you will look at page 20 of your packet, this is the cover letter that was submitted by Crow with their bid. They took 4 exceptions to our bid specifications. The first exception was that they would not hold the price for 90 days. Second is that they would not hold to a 0 escalation. And the other 2 had to do with timing, especially related to the critical path of supply on the ductile iron and fitting. It's very, very difficult to get contractors on contracts of this magnitude to hold their price, to know exactly when they're going to get the materials and how long it will have to sit there. By email, their attorney withdrew their exception on the 90-day. So they kept it at 90-day. That allowed us to be able to work with engineering, work with Christ, work with finance, to try to make sure that we had the ability to show you a certificate of availability. No bid was going to come to you for your consideration without a certificate of availability. It's key. Now, with regard to change orders in instances like this, much like what we did with Michaels, can come if it's prudent to shift the risk. There is risk associated with escalation. There is risk associated with timing. There is risk associated with supply. So we cannot tell you, no one here can tell you, that there will not be a request for a change order with respect to escalation, materials, or time. However, this bid was $34 million. The next one is $47 million. The one after that is $54 million. Change orders will not be $13 million. If we reject, and we go out for bids again.
Don't do that.
So I'm not trying to hold you hostage here. I'm just telling you this, you're not going to get a lower bid.
This was the bid that came in higher than what we thought it was gonna be in the first place, right?
Well, yeah, the engineer
Correct.
estimates on the project, sure.
And-
We were
But their
in-
estimates were some time ago.
Yes, sir.
when it finally-
2017.
Pre-COVID.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, 2017.
And we're seeing these kind of projects throughout the state coming in well over any type of an estimate, even ones that were prior to January of this year. From January on, we have seen projects throughout the state significantly go up, much like this one. And I think that's become the norm now. If you can find a contractor that'll even bid on the projects. I was happy to get 3 bids, wasn't happy with the number. But glad we have Crow coming in at the number that they did. Otherwise, we'd be looking at 47 to 54, and the entire project would be in jeopardy.
Any other questions of Todd or Bill or Brian?
Mayor, if I can make one more statement. We are going to be looking at funding mechanisms because we still need to finish our potable water lines that we'll need to bring to the board at a later date. By finishing our potable water lines and this plant, we have the opportunity to mothball Lakeside Water Treatment Plant, which that would be a savings of about $1 million a year, about $30 million over 30 years, about the life of this bond. So we're looking at all kinds of options to bring to you. But I had something come up today where I saw some just misinformation is starting to happen. There's rumors starting to happen. We have not landed on anything. But I saw one today that said that it's widely rumored that this board is going to pass 5 mills of property tax to go towards the bond debt. I can tell you that there has not been one discussion, even at the staff level, of asking for a millage to pay for this bond. So if that rumor is circulating out there, I want to make sure people understand that it's not true. You can hear anything, but that's one that is just false. Thank you.
Director Garcia?
Just a follow-up question to your comments. Even before these other, did you say distribution lines? Before that new section's added, the plant can still operate. Is that, I mean, I don't want it to.
The plant is, once this plant is built, we will be able to move water into the distribution system. However, it won't be 15 million gallons. If we build this plant in the water we're able to move through the current pipes that we have in the ground today, we will not be able to take Lakeside offline. We will continue to need that additional water supply. The only way this plant can work, or that can generate the 15 million gallons a day and be able to move that to the Cornerstone tank and the rest of the distribution system, is with new potable lines on that side of the plant coming back into town.
So, okay, but the other side is still, would be okay?
We can move probably 5 million, somewhere around 5 million gallons
Yeah,
a day.
5 to 7.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you. Discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McKay.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. We have 2 final action items this evening. Both are ordinances. Now, so we'll address ordinance O-22-38, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Second. Director Garcia, seconded by Director Trustee. Got a motion and a second to suspend the rules, read by title only. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Please read by title.
Ordinance O-22-38, an ordinance approving an agreement with Pro Energy Partners LLC for natural gas on demand services pursuant to Arkansas Code Annotated, Section 14-58-10414, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. And our staff report will be provided by Utilities Director Monty Ledbetter. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Staff is requesting approval for a 36-month agreement with Pro Energy Partners LLC out of Houston, Texas, to provide natural gas for the city. In March of 2012, the Board of Directors approved the change from a sales customer service account type contract with the gas company to a bulk account with the gas company. This saved us an average of about $75,000 a year, so it was well worth that move when we did that. Pro Energy Partners will act as our liaison for our agent for our transporting the natural gas for us. Pro Energy Partners has offered us, like I said, a 36-month agreement to provide service to the city at a rate enabled East Index plus 35 cents per MMBTU, plus the Summit transportation fees, plus applicable taxes. The actual amount is a natural, for the natural gas is the amount that's actually burned. This is a 100% swing contract, allowing us to burn however much gas we need throughout the month. And there are no other charges or buyback clauses in that. This agreement provides natural gas for the wastewater treatment plant on Davison Street, and it also provides for the animal service on Davison Street as well. That will be split in a monthly fee of about 79% wastewater, 21% for the animal services. ACA 14-58-104 provides that cities, governing bodies of the first class and cities of the second class or enable towns purchase for the following commodities without soliciting for bids: motor fuel, oil, asphalt oil, and natural gas. So budget provides for this year's, for the rest of this year's. Funds will be requested for 23, 24, and 25, and staff agrees to not exceed budgetary constraints.
Any questions of Monty on this topic?
Mayor, though we did not go out for bids, we did receive several quotes and wanted the board to know that we did receive several quotes, including our current contractor, and this bid, or this quote, was far less than the others that were able to quote the transmission.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Director Garcia.
I had a question for the city attorney. In the agreement that was in our packet, it states that as the buyer, we will keep the terms of all of this confidential. But does that need to be removed so we're not in breach? Because it's not, I mean, we're subject to FOIA, and we've just gone through what the terms are.
There are certain provisions that are exempted from FOIA, such as our utility information. And so the information that is sensitive under FOIA can be confidential, but obviously the other terms cannot. So that's not
a problem.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. Monty, going to be tied to the Enable East Index. Has that fluctuated? Is that a common index to use? Do we know what?
It's a common index that the industry uses,
Okay.
and it's the way I understand it, it changes monthly, but it doesn't change very often. But when it does change, they send us that notification, and it's tied to, I guess, all of these companies. So it's a.
And this index you can look it up online.
Yes,
too,
yes, ma'am.
Because as you said, they do updates, and I was thinking it was weekly, but it may be monthly now. But you can see that online when you look up those, just like random links.
Yeah, it'll be on our bill every month of what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Monty, would you share what the approximate cost is annually?
It averages about $2,600 a month for both of our bills. It's not used for heating, it's just for a boiler, so it's a pretty consistent.
Okay, very good. Any further questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't have anybody sign up?
No, sir.
No. Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action item of this evening is to consider ordinance O-22-39, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee,
Second.
Director Garcia. I have a
And
motion.
Mayor, before you proceed, I'm
All
going to
right.
ask to recuse myself from this item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to read by title only. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-22-39, an ordinance authorizing a contract for services with High Impact Movement, Inc. pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated section 14-58-104, paragraph 18. And for other purposes, that concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Director Trustee, seconded by Director Garcia. Our staff report will be provided by Deputy City Manager Lance Spitzer. Welcome.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Kind of as a matter of process, I'll kind of give a quick overview on the contract and the agreement itself. We have Mr. Amos Gray with High Impact Movement. He'll be presenting some of their data from the previous year. As the contract, or as the title states, this is a previous agreement from September of last year. This would be a continuation of the agreement. In itself, this contracted amount would be for $100,000. $35,000 of that is budgeted in 2022. The remaining $65,000 would be part of the board's budget deliberations in 2023. I want to make sure that's out front. The HIM program, as it states, it is an after-school and summer program put on by Mr. Gray and his staff. They averaged about 100 students over the course of each day that they were in operation. They have some pretty good statistics over on the impacts that they've had, from grades, attendance, to behavior reports. They are located at the former Boys and Girls Club, which is pretty fitting because whenever the Boys and Girls Club closed in 2018, really a lot of those services that were provided to some of the clientele there, Mr. Gray has picked up that slack, and that's something that they're providing. The program is, as I said, this is kindergarten through 11th grade, and these are individuals that are identified as underserved either by their school district or the family themselves. This is an open enrollment program, and Mr. Gray and his staff really do a good job of making sure they have impacts on those attendees. So when we talk about impacts, you're talking about really preparing those attendees and kids to become productive and contributing members of City Hot Springs and their communities in general. So I think it's a worthwhile program that the City of Hot Springs feels the need to continue. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Gray unless anybody has any questions of myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lance. Appreciate it. It's good to be back in front of you guys. It's been a while, but first of all, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity and the challenge to develop a program for young people in the city. And with the backing of this board, we have done well. We have done very well. We continue to see 100+ kids a day, even starting our new school year season today. We had over 100 kids there today. And so we know that we are making an impact in the lives of young people because they are there and their families are allowing them to be there. I believe that you received a data packet in your material there. I just want to go over some of the numbers that we have discovered through working with the young people this past year. And the page number 1, you can see some of our programs there. Impact Academy's after-school program, FDR, is our juvenile justice program where we work with the juvenile courts and the families going through the court system. School-based presentations are presentations that we go into the schools and we present students to healthy decision-making, healthy relationship building, how to get along with each other. And then, and honestly, that's where a lot of our numbers come from with the Impact Academy, is doing the presentations in the school. And so they want to hang out with us after school. Impact Summer Academy and the sports program, we had 80 students on an average this summer. And a lot of our kids had things to do, travel and things such. We've added cultural intelligence presentations, helping people to understand culture, helping people to understand their part in making this world a better place. It's not just about black or white, but it's just understanding culture, period. And so we've added that one. And then we initiated our LAYLA program, which is Leadership Employability Learning Academy, which we are conducting in the Spa City Youth Academy. That's what we're calling it, at a building at 201 Belden that the A&P Commission has allowed us to have. And so we got that going this past spring as well. As you can continue to move forward into the data, we had 327 students registered for our program. 327 students registered in our program. That's well over 10% of the Hot Springs School District. Let that sink in. Mm-hmm. Students are in need of a place to be where they can find hope, where they can gather and have fun, where they can learn responsibility, where they can learn about how to become a better person. And so that's why that number is so high. We've actually seen those numbers through the course of the entire year. Again, we averaged 100 students. K through 6th grade is our largest number. Today, we picked up 52 students from Langston Academy in a bus that we purchased from them last year. Our 7th and 9th grade is growing significantly. We have rarely, I mean, it's so low, it's not even, you can't even report it, disciplinary issues with our students and attendance issues, of course, because we pick them up after school, so we know they're at school. And so we're seeing some really neat things. Juvenile court programs, FDR, we try to run about 8 classes a year, but we're finding some hiccups there because they've kind of moved into this restorative justice phase, and so they're not ordering a lot of families to do things. They're kind of recommending them to get involved in certain things. And so we're lucky because some of our parents, they want to come to the FDR class because it's all about relationships. It's all about restoring relationships, and that's what parents want. Parents who are going through juvenile justice, they want to restore the relationship with their kids. And if they can restore the relationship with their kids, then their kids can do better. And so I'm excited about that program. Again, our summer academy, we had enrolled 80 students. We have right now we had 2 full-time staff in the spring. We have now 3 full-time staff. I was able to bring on an assistant director to help me carry some of the load, and Mr. Ken Merriman is doing a great job. We had 11 part-time staff workers, and with that many kids, I mean, you can see that there's a need for those type of numbers. 7 volunteers. President students at Hot Springs School District, Lakeside, and then we have some homeschoolers involved in our program. We are partnering with National Park College with their social work department, as well as University of Arkansas at Little Rock with their social work students there as well. And then we launched our LAYLA program. Here's what you've been waiting for, our data with the schools. Our students are some of the sharpest students in Hot Springs, if not the state of Arkansas. They just needed an opportunity to apply themselves. They need an opportunity to be somewhere where they can really focus on their academics with a little encouragement and some resources to help them to really focus on what they need to do. And they showed great progress. At the beginning of the school year, the overall GPA for our students was 2.31. By the end of the school year, they increased that to 2.76, which is pretty darn good if you ask me. 63% of our students improved in their grades. We had 73% either improved or stayed the same. We did have a drop in some, and that drop tend to happen around Thanksgiving, Christmas area, and then spring break, and then when they're getting ready to get out of school, because kids kind of lean back a little bit and try to catch their breath. So we're looking at some really good numbers, and I believe that we're going to see even better this year, because our students are really hungry. And here's why. Because they believe. They're starting to believe in themselves. They're starting to believe that maybe people really do care about us. Maybe I do have a seat at this table. And they're really starting to know that hey, I can make a difference. And one young lady told me, and she actually did an interview with Channel 7 here recently. They came to interview us, and she said, I know that I have a place and I have a responsibility in my generation. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. And so I'm excited about that, and to see the students really get involved. FDR statistics, we had 38 families ordered this past school year, 25 completed, 13 moved away. Our parents, 94% of our parents, absolutely, they love our program, the FDR program. Even the ones that are either ordered or they're recommended, they come on their own. They love it because, again, it's all about relationships. It's about restoring relationships with their kids. And our kids, they really found that the ones that are going through it, they really found that it was relevant. Sometimes students think if they get ordered to something, it's not going to have any relevance to it. We try to make it relevant to them, real talk. And we don't sugarcoat anything with the FDR program. We let them know your back's against the wall. So what are we going to do to get out? And they really responded to it. So I'm really excited about what's going on. Of course, our school presentations, again, it's all about building self-esteem, building relationships, setting vision, having a vision and a goal for our students, and making positive choices. One of the things that we've been wrestling with is helping students to make positive choices, not just in the program, but out in the city of Hot Springs. And because so many of them are influenced by so many things, that sometimes, making a positive choice is very hard because they're influenced to make a bad choice. And so our students are understanding that they can make a positive choice even in the midst of bad situations, whether it's being at home or being out in the community. They can make a positive choice. We're finding that a lot of kids are saying, look, my mom tells me if somebody hit me, I'm going to hit them back. Well, that's probably a bad choice. But, what can we do about it other than say, hey, look, I can't do anything about what happens out there in the streets. But in here, I hope that you learn that you can make a better choice, and it generalizes out in the streets. And so it really makes them begin to think that if I can be this way in this building, why can't I be this way out there in the community? Isn't that what we want? I think we're going to get there. Our sports program, we're trying to work with Majestic to try to get our first baseball team together. I met with 12 boys today, all minority boys, and I want to help our young men understand that they have a place in that game. We don't see a whole lot of minority young men playing baseball, particularly African-American young men playing baseball anymore. The game is expensive. It takes a lot of time, and so they'd rather just choose to play basketball, which not too bad. But I want them to know that you have a backyard that's beautiful, and you have an opportunity to play in that backyard. And so let's use the Majestic ball field as your backyard and learn to play the game. And we are looking at really learning from the old Negro League and learning how to play ball through those guys, through the eyes of those guys, Satchel Paige and, the Robinsons and all the Buck Leonard, those guys, and just really helping students to understand, these guys understand that you have a history in this game. And these guys went through a lot so that you could play this game. And so we're working on developing that team and working with some former players to really get them involved to help them learn the game and really capitalize on it potentially. Also working with Bob Kendrick at the Negro League Hall of Fame and Museum to try to get the boys up there so that they can see it. And then also the Kansas City Youth Academy is just right across the way. So I want to take them there so they can experience it with some other students. And maybe, just maybe, they catch that vision and maybe come back and play a little ball and do something with it. So really excited about that. Just really, guys, I can't say enough about what we're doing. It's tiring, it's challenging, but I got a great staff. Got a wonderful board. Some of our board members are here. Mr. Tom Sieb and Bill Allison out at National Park. He's here. They challenge us. They help us work through the issues. We have some challenges coming up, possibly adding to our budget extra resources because we may end up having to have to pay a lease agreement to be in the facility. And so that's going to be a challenge, and we'll have to figure that out. But we'll figure it out because our kids are worth it. They're worth it. People ask me all the time, Amos, why do you do this? All these kids, they're not yours, and they're bad, you know, and they do a lot of stuff. And I say, you know, think about when you were a child, when you were a kid. Did you ever do anything that your mom or dad, you know, had to get on to you for? Did you have the opportunity to play and have fun and learn some things? Well, shouldn't they have the same opportunity too? And I believe that we're right where we need to be at this time. And I believe that only greater things to come. And so you talked about that building on Orange Street. I was in that building. It's really bad. But boy, oh boy, I could see what it used to be. And wouldn't it be great to have a community center in the city of Hot Springs where young people from all over the city can come and learn, have fun, and engage in some healthy activity. And really come to really understand that Hot Springs is a place where they can call home and be here because they are part of it. That's what I want. And, you know, I always tell the students, you know, one day you're going to, you know, kick dirt in my face and go eat potato salad, you know. But before then, let's try to build something for the next generation that they can really grab a hold of and learn to be productive, healthy citizens in the city of Hot Springs. That's our goal. That's the impact that we want to make. And I think we're on our way.
Well,
Any
thank
questions?
you very much. Any questions? Director Garcia?
Just a comment, the reference of the student that was interviewed on Channel 7
Yes,
when
ma'am.
they were here a couple of weeks ago. I saw that. I was so impressed. I was so proud of our community, that work that you're doing, and that the whole state could see what was happening here. And just thank you for the heart and that you have and that your team has,
Yes, ma'am.
helping
Thank-
all these young people.
Yeah, it's a lot
Thank
of fun.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Director Trustee?
Good question. Amos, again, congratulations. The numbers are very impressive. When is your fiscal year end for the
It's
corporation?
December 31st.
December 31?
Yeah.
Okay. It says that you'll provide financial statements to the city, reviewed financial statements within
Mhm.
4 months of that.
Yeah, we're working on that right now.
Okay.
And we should have that to you guys, I know by October, if not earlier.
Okay.
Mhm.
That'd be great. And then, could you provide some information about your annual budget at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
And again, what a great program.
Thank you. Thank you guys for believing in us.
Any other comments or directed towards Amos? I'd just like to thank Amos for all of his efforts to the community. I know it expands 20 years or more, perhaps, maybe longer. He was very involved with the Hot Springs Trojans football team for years and years, being on the sidelines and trying to help kind of fill in the cracks where sometimes the coaches don't have time. And I know I was side by side with him as a volunteer punter, kicker, snapper, holder coach for many of those years. And so, yeah, we had a special bond with the kids, and for you to expand from there into this project is speaks volumes of your character and willingness to help the community. So
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for what you do, and we're there with you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
So any other comments or questions?
Glad we have YouTube. I want to watch this again. His presentation fired me up.
Well, I invite you to come down and hang out with us.
Yeah, he invited me, and they were very well behaved. I think a year ago I went. We talked a little bit about their future and what it holds for them and what they can become, and they were all very attentive. And what I liked about it is that there was a diversity of age groups there. And everybody got along, from the 5-year-olds to the teenagers, and they were kind of, the older ones watched out for the younger ones. So it was very nice. So
Absolutely.
Hearing no further comments or questions, well, let's call the roll.
Director Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday has recused. Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll allow Director Aaron Holliday to return. Our final agenda items is Director's items for discussion. Do we have any items for discussion? Director Garcia.
I just wanted to reiterate, it was in our consent agenda where we increased money to add streets back to paving, and that was from a restricted fund that we had for Pave It Forward. And as we haven't received the Roads Now money, but as the city starts receiving those funds, 100% goes to more street funding. And we're looking to do that through the time period that's in effect, 100% for streets.
Correct. Any other items for discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Director Garcia, seconded by
Second.
Director Weatherford.
Yeah, Lane's not here, kind of.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Dang, got out of
We are adjourned, and it's dark outside.
Got out of sync on that.